He talks a good game. He talks a good game. On the XM, he talks a good game.
Hello, welcome to Son. I hope you're all well. So, the boxing news that's happened this last night. Jai Opetaia is fighting under Zuffa Boxing. He's become the undisputed Zuffa Boxing champion, cruiserweight champion. He took it on Glanton, beat him very convincingly in the fight, pointed him in the fight, went the distance. It was a bit of a... It was a convincing win, but also there was refereeing interference. It was untidy at times, from both fighters. And it depends whether you're impressed by the Zuffa Boxing or not. I certainly am not. So far, of what I've seen, I haven't seen. They haven't got a great stable of fighters for a start, so there isn't a lot of competition. It's just getting started, but they're putting it into the Apex in Las Vegas. It isn't a venue that exudes kind of, big time boxing, as it were. But they're trying to make out it is. Obviously, they're going with all the television deals, so they're saying they're making television deals all over the world right now for this new Zuffa Boxing. Obviously, this is really, I suppose, in my opinion, to re-energize boxing in the United States. So this is America, right? But the absurdity is that it's all funded by Saudi Arabia. That's the thing. It's all funded by Saudi Arabia. So Saudi Arabia money in there. They got Dana White doing it all. They got Jai Opetaia in there, who says he still wants to become undisputed. Then he's the reigning IBF champion. But then they're stripping him off the belt, and then it's saying, well, is he being stripped? Is he not being stripped? He pays his commission fees his sanction fees to the IBF, and they all of a sudden, right at the 11th hour, on Friday, say no, this is not for the IBF titles. So nobody really knows whether he's stripped or not. He fights for this title. Glanton, who they've just brought up, there's nobody else to fight, really. So he's now the champion of Zuffa. I mean, it's all a bit of a nonsense. The whole point of this video is pure and simple for this statement. After the fight, they interviewed Dana White on the boxing and everything. Typical Dana White fashion. Not exactly the warmest of people, let's say, I mean, in my opinion, and certainly not, he's very dismissive, very black and white about what his intentions are. So he is just the front man, as it were, behind the Saudi money, basically, who are funding all this. Without them, this Zuffa Boxing would have taken off. It just wouldn't have happened, right? Even though TKO's behind it as well, it never would have happened. But they're basically, Dana White is saying, we're coming after everybody. We're going to sign the best. We're going to get the best and sign the best. And he talked about Shakur Stevenson, and one report asked him about Shakur Stevenson and Usyk. And he said, yeah, if they're whatever they are, whoever the best, we're going to take them. So they're here to take it all. Zuffa Boxing are here to take it all. In their mind, that is. Now, he also is very dismissive of Eddie Hearn after Eddie Hearn this week taking over Tom Aspinall of UFC fame, his affairs in terms of a marketing sense, a commercial sense. And Dana White was very dismissive of it. And he said, well, there are no promoters. There are no other promoters. He's just a manager. We deal with managers all the time now. Totally dismissive of Eddie Hearn. I mean, this is all-out war for him. This is all-out war. It's almost like he doesn't care about anybody else, And fair enough, that's his role, right? But the way he goes about it is just completely outrageous in many ways. But it's the things he says. And, if you think that any of these fighters, Jai Opetaia or, Conor Benn, who's gone over, or any of these boxers who've gone over there, think they're, better the devil you know, because now you're dealing with real Satan, in many ways. No, I'm not saying that literally, of course, but I'm saying, the way they do business over there, it might be okay initially for those guys going across and being paid big money to go across, but they have to build up their stable. And they're going after war, not necessarily with the other promoters, because they don't believe there's a war with the other promoters, because they think they've cleaned up now. They haven't. They just started up. But they're attracting other boxers. That's what it is. That's what's happening. And they're saying they were Dana White was saying, oh, yeah, potentially we're only going to have 10, 12 shows this year. Well, they've already had 4. And now he's saying, well, actually, we might have more than UFC, 48 fights, 48 fight shows this year alone. They're coming on strong. They've got a bit between their teeth. They tasted it, and they're coming on really, really strong. But do they have the fighters in their stable? Right now, they don't, but they're building it all the time. This is where it was a matter of fact saying, we're coming after everybody, and we will get everybody. Frog and a Well, good afternoon. Thank you very much. So, if you're really interested, this is like a statement intent. In terms of sporting terms, this is a real statement intent. You got this new player who wants to take over, and they don't care about anybody. They don't want to form alliances. They don't want to do business with other people. They just want to go it alone. And if it works, it will change the face of boxing globally. I still stand on this, that it may change the face of boxing in the United States. I just don't believe that this will change the face of boxing globally, because I think globally there will be other big players. So I think we're going to have this regionalised. If it takes off, I'm still not 100% sure that this is going to go the full length, as it were. Whilst the Saudis are there, they got their money behind it. Yeah, I understand. But ultimately, there's no net return here. Initially, when the Saudis were involved in terms of Riyadh season fight cards, it was all about promoting Saudi Arabia. Well, this Zuffa Boxing is not about promoting about Saudi Arabia at all. So you kind of wonder, where's this money going in, and what's the purpose of it? How long are they going to keep it in there? I'm not convinced by the whole thing. I mean, in many ways, you will say, well, Saudi Arabia or those Middle Eastern countries, obviously they're under a bit of pressure themselves now in terms of geopolitics, Iran and everything like that, and missiles flying over everything. But then when you're talking about their investment, their money, well, they've been investing for many, many years. And actually, in fact, all those Middle Eastern countries are investing heavily in Western countries and Western finance, Western property, sporting teams. I mean, many sporting teams would just love that money to come over, to their football team, for example. My football team, many fans would say, yeah, we'd love that, but just be careful what you wish for. Sometimes sometimes you want for this money, but you don't actually know what's behind it, what expected behind it. And this is the same with Zuffa Boxing. Just be mindful that they're at the early stages now. They're puffing out their chests. They're blowing all the houses down, or they say it. I mean, this is the impression I get from Dana White, that he talks a lot. He talks a load of old crap a lot of the time, just like Donald Trump, just like a load of politicians. He reminds me of a politician, a rough, gruff politician. And it's no wonder he's best mates with Donald Trump, really. Not that I have anything to say on Donald Trump, in terms of politically. I just don't, it's not for me. But what I'm saying is he sounds like a politician. He talks a load of crap, but he's got nothing to back it up. He's got nothing to show for it in terms of this boxing sense. And that, he's gonna. There's a big wide world out there, and the likes of Eddie Hearn and Frank Warren and the other promoters, certainly here in Europe, in the United States, they've kind of really gone really quiet. Around the world, and they say, no, we're still here. We're still kicking and screaming. All the full belts organisations, they still want this. They're not going to go away without a fight either. So it'd be very interesting to see how this develops. But according to Dana White, he's coming after all the boxers now. It's gloves off, coming off with all the boxers. So watch this space if you're watching. Anyway, it's been a great weekend of football. FA Cup action here in England. Some interesting results. A massive game tonight at London Stadium. West Ham against Brentford. Who's going to win? Well, of course it's got to be West Ham. Of course it's got to be. And if it isn't, then we'll all be crying into our Cocoa Pops in the morning, especially if you're a West Ham fan. If you're not, then obviously, if you're a Brentford fan, you'd be laughing, right? But anyway, listen, so I wanted to keep this short, very quick video. It's all about who's the big players in sport now, and who are they going to buy up? And in boxing terms, Zuffa Boxing, they're trying to convince everybody they're the big players. They've certainly got money behind them, and they want to come after a lot of these big-name boxers who are champions right now, who are deemed to be the best. But how long can that last for? From what they originally said and what they're doing now, in a matter of months, it's completely changed. So what will it be in a few months' time? Who knows? All I can say is, wow, football tonight, FA Cup, up the Hammers. And I catch you again. Bye now.